The PM has made a big pitch over the Uniform Civil Code, and there's already, in fact, the Law Commission asking for responses on the same issue. I have with me senior advocate Sidharth Luthara to throw some light on this issue. So, now the PM also has batted for this. This is the one, in fact, the new Law Commission that has also called in for responses from various religious groups. Do you think, since the last Commission report had said that it is not the right time to implement a UCC, what would have changed, and is it a correct time to actually implement such a law?
So let's be very clear. The decision to implement or to introduce such a law is a political decision. When the Constitution was framed in Article 44, it was made clear in the Directive Principles that there should eventually be a uniform civil code for this country. The nature and contours of the civil code have yet to be determined, and that is what will really be telling, and to what extent, if any, it impacts the rights of communities, minorities or tribal communities. So there are two things we must be very clear about. The fact that the Part 4 of the Constitution makes it desirable to have a uniform civil code makes it very clear that at some point there should be legislation for that purpose. That we've not had legislation for the purpose is a decision taken by governments of the day for whatever reasons. So far as the Law Commission's report is concerned, frankly speaking, the previous Law Commission took a report that it is not the appropriate time. The present Law Commission appears to have taken a view that they want to have a debate because it is the appropriate time. I ask myself, is that really the domain of the Law Commission? The answer is no. Law Commissions are supposed to determine what is essential in terms of the change of the law, and therefore that is what is important. The determination as to when to introduce such a law is really that of the government, and therefore we should not go behind the fig leaf of the actions taken by the Law Commission then and now.
Sir, if at all a uniform civil code is brought in, what could really change for the general public, because it is somewhere or other going to affect the general public a lot, irrespective of the religions? How would it be beneficial or non-beneficial for such people?
So I find it interesting that any uniform civil code, if it has to be really uniform, will provide for marriage and for succession. It will give rights to individuals, whether the majority Hindu community or the Muslims, the Sikhs, the Christians, the Parsis. And more important, it will also restructure the relationship of the state with the tribal communities who are under the 6th schedule or the 5th schedule, as the case may be. That being the position, I think there will have to be a lot of deliberation before the Uniform Civil Code is brought in. Is it a good thing? To my mind, definitely. There is no harm. Religious belief should be private, but a Uniform Civil Code will, as long as it does not implement majoritarianism, is a very fair thing, and I would think appropriate. Having said that, on another note, what's interesting is that we've been having a controversy about love jihad. Once you have the Uniform Civil Code and the ability to marry across communities, that controversy, I believe, would also end, which is also a positive thing for this country.
So, there is, since we're talking about the topic of love jihad, since it's more about personal laws being diluted somewhere or the other, various Muslim bodies, including the All India Muslim Personal Law Board, has opposed UCC, clearly saying that this is something that is against the basic structure of the Constitution. It will be hitting out the fundamentals of the democracy. Do you feel the same?
I think it's a misnomer. When the Constitution came into being, we had the Constitution makers, drafters, had proposed the introduction of a uniform civil code. The question was one of time. There were other views also taken as to the language that is to be spoken. And these were all matters which were, like Article 370, was really a temporary set of affairs. But the point is, these temporary transitional provisions have really got a degree of permanence over a period of time. Coming back to the UCC, I completely understand whether the Muslim Personal Law Board or other minority communities are going to raise an objection, but perhaps it would have been appropriate before any declaration to seek to take all the various communities into confidence and then try and bring about some kind of debate, discussion, and then move forward with the introduction of the Uniform Civil Code, so that the objection to it, if it comes, as and when it comes out, would be on issues of law and issues of constitutional morality, but not opposition because of the sake of opposition.
Thank you so much for speaking to us. This was Senior Advocate Sidharth Luthara speaking to us over, in fact, a uniform civil code in the country and how it would actually change the dynamics of law in the country itself.